Hello, it is Lindsay from your key team. We are unfortunately missing Miss Kayla today. However, we are very, very happy to bring to you Grace and Ed from Grace's Food Pantry. So thank you very much for both of you being here.
You're welcome.
And I'm basically just going to ask you a couple questions about how you got started and kind of let you go with it and tell us all about what you do and why I asked you to come here.
Okay.
Don't let us go too far because we'll keep on going.
Nope, keep on going. It's really a great story, so I'm really happy to share it with people that are listening.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Miss Grace. Well, you're off. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how things got started for you.
Okay. Well, it all started back 13 years ago when I moved into this community, and I saw a need. Towards the end of the month, people were a lot of the seniors were just not making it to the end of the month with their income. For food.
Okay.
And they were crushing up crackers. They were making, I don't know if you know what matzo brie is, but it's a matzo cracker and water and stuff. And they were having that breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just to fill themselves up. And when I saw the need, I went to the manager and I said to him, Louis, I said, we really have a need here, and I'd like to start a food pantry. He says, well, do you know how to run a food pantry? I said, no, but I'll learn. And so he gave me 2 shelves in the employee lounge. And he said, if you can make that work, we'll talk about it. And of course it worked. And then he gave me a utility closet. And he had the maintenance boys paint it and fix it up and put shelves in it and refrigeration and everything else. And I had that for quite a while. And, I did a lot of work out of there and I was very grateful. And because I was helping so many people. And it was like maybe 5 years ago or so where they renovated the building. And they built me a food pantry.
Oh, cool.
Okay. And I am also very grateful to them for doing that.
And it's still going on.
It's still going on till
to this
today.
day.
Yes. And I feed many people from there.
From 13
And
years.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And I'm very happy to do it. But someone approached me, a young lady approached me, and she was in the building taking care of someone who was sick. And she said to me, I've been watching you from the day you started. And she said, because she's one of the, like an aide.
Mhm.
And she said, I've been watching you from the first day when you were this big and now you've grown. And she said, I want to know if you would be willing to come to my community because we need it. It's a lot of veterans, a lot of people who are seniors and, their pension doesn't last as long as they'd like. And so I said, well, you have to talk to my son because I said, he's the brains, I'm the brawn. I always say that. So I gave her his number and she called him. And it started from that point on for us to grow. And it's beneficial to us because we were doing home deliveries, which sometimes we wouldn't get finished till 9, 10 o'clock at night. So now we go into communities, low income communities, where we can service so many more people. And we have some communities have is it 3,000 homes or approximately
3,000 to 3,500 homes. Some of the communities, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we look at all the people we're serving.
Yeah.
And I'm very blessed because I started out when I was young with a mom who was such a firm believer in God, and she always said to me, if you feed people, you'll always have food on your table. God will make sure. And it's so true because trust me, I don't starve. And also I feel that I have God with me. He stands behind me all the way. That's why at my age I'm still going strong. And so
we were just talking about your age, and if you don't mind.
No, I'm 81 years old.
And you don't look or act to be 81 years old.
And I'm still going.
Means.
Let me tell you, the other morning.
She actually just the other day, yesterday, as a matter of fact, we had pick up a donation that we received, which was 900 pounds of cans.
I'm sure
And
she did it by herself.
she loaded the SUV on her own because I have a bad
Oh,
back.
my
So
He has
she,
he has 14
yeah,
herniated
so
discs.
she's
got the bad back and you're 83. And
That's
Yeah.
why I
you're
say
500
he's the
pounds.
brains and I'm the brawn.
yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
So she, and you know what the doctor always tells, like, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it because your body is fantastic. Everything is going well. So
I'm a firm believer in keep moving.
Yeah.
Keep
Oh,
on
so
moving.
am I.
Keep-
You know,
yeah,
when all
yeah.
my friends talk about TV programs and everything else, I have to keep quiet because I know
I don't
nothing
know anything
about
about
them.
the TV.
Because I
Well, you're
I
out
very
delivering food to people at
That's
right,
9 o'clock
yeah.
at night.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they're not finished till 9 o'clock, and so you know, I'll be honest with you. When I'm finally finished and I have my dinner and it's so late, I sit in my recliner and I start dozing off because I have to get up and start doing everything else I have to do before I go to bed. You know.
well, fortunately, we've been able to. We're up to over 1,500 people a month that we're feeding at all our different locations.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so it turns out to be quite a bit. It doesn't sound like it's a lot because of the quantity of the neighborhoods, but
Yeah,
as
that's
what
big number.
yeah, well, and you know what, we're reaching out. What we're doing is we donate flyers, so we make up the flyers and we donate them, which comes out of our pocket, and we have them printed, and we just utilize volunteers from the neighborhood to go into different areas because if you think about it, it's 3,500 homes. One neighborhood is 2,900 homes. And there's smaller communities that are 450 park models and different things like that. And we have to reach all of them.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, our volunteers go out and they put little flyers in the doors and let people know. Besides going onto their webpage, their local webpage, and their Facebook pages, and letting people know that we're there and it's available to them and it's in their community. If they're in that community, it's available to them. We don't look at income. We don't care what you make. If you're coming to one of Grace's food pantries and you're saying you need food, we are going to give you food. We don't, you know, we're just a tool that, you know, that God uses, and we just pull forward with that. And if you need it, you need it. You know, I don't care
No
if you pull up
explanation
in, I don't care what kind of car you pull up in. It doesn't matter to me. I don't know what your circumstances at that moment.
Sure.
So if you need it, you need it. And I tell you, when we had a toddler, she was 3 years old.
That was my misconception because I had visited your one of your food pantries, and from what I saw was a majority of older people, and then I attended another one, and it didn't click until then that it is not just elderly; it is young, old, like families. Like it was incredible to see the difference, but that was definitely a misconception that I had initially, thinking that it was just like, you know, the older generation that you were helping, but it's everybody.
It's everybody.
Yeah, there was
It's everybody.
children there, and
The prices of food are so
And we're-
high.
yeah,
And we're still trying to reach out to individuals one-on-one. We do that once in a while. Like this one I was just going to tell you about with the toddler. She was 3 years old, and I heard her in the background, and her grandma was talking to me on the phone and saying that, you know, she needed food for the family and telling me the reasons why. And I'm like, I'm fine, you know, that we can get you some food. And in the background, there's this tiny little voice saying, please, we need food. We need food, please. And then grandma would say, I said to grandma, I says, who is that in the background? She says, oh, it's my little granddaughter. She says that she realized I was calling you for some food, and you know she knows we need food, and all of a sudden she says to her granddaughter, "Oh, they're going to come with food," and then you hear in the background, "God bless you, God bless you, thank you." And you know the sad part about that is that when we got to the home, Grandma came out in tears, crying. We had like 8 bags of groceries. We don't make it known that we're a food pantry. We rather look at it as a delivery service, a regular delivery service for food. And so Grandma came out, gave us both a big hug and a kiss, and she was crying. And there's this little toddler at the door, absolutely ecstatic that we're walking in with 8 bags of food. You would think I was walking in with 8 bags of toys.
Yeah.
That's how excited she was. And it hit me in the heart so much. Why our younger generation, our younger little ones just going to school don't have food that they're so excited for food, and they shouldn't have to go through that. So we'll help anybody pretty much as long as they attend the food pantry, and We're trying to get to as many locations as possible. So if we can get more community leaders like the civic presidents or HOA presidents or managers of communities or whatnot to contact us, we would love to see if we can set up a location.
People realize how much is in their own backyard.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
And even for myself, just being in the community and, for example, some of the children when they leave school for like spring break,
Mhm.
like they don't have the food at their house, and they pack their pack-a-sack or whatever that it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And for those 5 days or 7 days that they're off on spring break, that's the food that they have. And it's literally in our own backyards. And I don't believe that a lot of people realize that they're, the hustle bustle of every day, not realizing that, that it's right here.
Well, they see their neighbors going out to work, and they see the kids going to school, and they think, well, their life is okay. They don't know what's behind that door,
Right.
and what circumstances they have. Sometimes I've heard stories where kids are going to school, they're getting their breakfast and they're getting their lunch.
Yeah.
Then they come home, they're outside playing, so it seems normal. But then they're going to bed hungry because there was no dinner at home,
Right.
And nobody knows that. So it's tough, and people are prideful, and people say, well, why don't they say something? Well, it's not easy sometimes for people to open up and say, hey, we don't have food for the rest of the month,
right.
Or to carry us over for a couple of days until the next check comes in. They're not paying all their bills, and sometimes the electric goes off, and they got to live like that for a couple of days, and people don't realize that this is happening with even their own neighbors.
Right.
And because of their dignity and their pride, we also don't, our food pantry doesn't set up a box or a bag and give it to them.
Yeah.
We set it up as a farmer's market.
Mhm.
Okay, there's meat, there's fresh produce, there's canned goods, there's bread, there's cake.
I think we have some few pictures
Okay.
that'll pop up here when our friend Jesse brings them up
Mhm.
of one of the most recent food pantries.
This is one of our grand openings here. Yeah. And you could see there was 160 people that attended that grand opening, and they all were looking for food.
Mhm.
And if one of the pictures, you can see the tables there are set up in the pictures. So we set it up as a farmer's market, like Grace had just mentioned.
Mhm.
And they go around they don't actually touch the food. What they're doing is they'll walk around with a volunteer. A volunteer will have gloves on and a mask, and we call them our ambassadors.
Mm-hmm.
And those ambassadors will walk with the individual as they come in, and the individual could say, well, I would like that package of meat. The ambassador would take it and put it in the bag for them. I would like that loaf of bread, so forth and so on. And they like it because they feel like they're shopping.
Yeah.
They're not,
and are choosing what they want.
They-
It's not
I
like a bag full of stuff that they don't
They
have a
won't-
desire for.
and we don't know what their allergies are.
It was
We don't
fresh.
know. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
fresh. And
It's
they,
fantastic.
yeah, and at the end of the line, there's no cash register.
Right.
So they get to take their goods, and they walk around, they socialize, and they're talking. Sometimes they'll stay there and socialize and talk to neighbors that they've never met, even though they lived in a location for 10, 15, 20 years.
Right.
So and you could see there's some of the pictures how we separate things so they know what they're getting, what they're looking at. Everything is fresh, nothing is dented, nothing is, anything that would, if our Grace and ours motto is, if we wouldn't buy it, we won't give it to anybody.
Right.
And that's how we train our volunteers also.
And also our volunteers or our ambassadors wear masks and gloves so that everything is sanitary for everybody. Because you never know who in the community might have a cold or might be coming down with the flu or something like that.
Right.
And so it's better that just certain people take care of it, and certain people have to wear gloves and masks,
Right.
just so that it stays that way.
Yeah. And then we also have other services that come and join us, local services like a doctor's office. We have a pharmaceutical company. We have an insurance broker. And these are all individuals that come here. It's the Seniors in Service. There's another organization that helps us with volunteers. And we also try to offer all this information for our seniors and our families because not everyone can get out and look to see what's better for them or what's better for their family.
Right.
So the insurance broker is there to say, what kind of insurance do you have? Oh, if that insurance is good, stay with it. Don't switch, because we are firm believers that once we're in a community, those individuals in that community become our community. So we don't like pressure. We don't want them to pressure anybody or to trick anybody to do anything or to change anything.
Mm.
Just show them what you offer. If they have something better, let them go, stay with what they have. Right here, we have a pharmaceutical company. This gentleman actually delivers the pharmaceuticals right to their door.
Yes, he
And
does.
they love it.
Yep.
They love it because they're not able sometimes to get out of their home.
Yes.
And he
We
has a
feel-
wonderful personality. So when he knocks on their door, it's like a family member coming to your door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's very well known for everything that he does in our small community. And actually, he's who's introduced me to you, and
Right.
Well,
I
him-
can't say enough about him.
He's
Yeah.
another example of what a family teaches your children.
Yeah.
Okay, like I was saying about my mom, well, his family is very giving.
Yes, they are.
They're very wonderful, and they're just, I can't even, there's no words to describe how wonderful they are.
Yeah, they've been friends of ours for over 25 years, and we would never do anything to jeopardize their friendship because they're just beautiful people.
Mhm.
I've seen them give and open their doors to their restaurants in their home and give to people that you would never see, and it's just amazing. And he's got the same kind of heart
Yes.
to do the same thing. So we surround ourselves with fantastic individuals. We try to express our love for people through our food pantry, and it's an amazing feeling how many people are so happy with everything that we've given them so far. And we just strive to continue on. And we're just, as I said in the beginning, we're just looking to see any other community that is looking for some help, and we could set up at a civic association of theirs, and we can go over everything that's needed and what's required. And we do train people before we actually open, so that once we open the food pantry, everyone is well rounded and knows what needs to be done and what they need to do for those that are walking in. And we just want people to come in and feel welcomed and talking to their neighbors, because most of the volunteers that we use, if not all of them right now, are from the neighborhood.
Right.
So they all know each other, so they're comfortable and they're talking and they're joking around, and as they're picking items that they want, and that we want it to be a nice outing for them.
Mhm.
And then unfortunately, you do have those that are what they consider shut-ins, those that can't come out for medical reasons or whatnot. Well, we make sure that those that represent the civic association that we deal with takes a list of those names, goes to their homes, and finds out what do they like, what are they allergic to, what would they like to see in a food pantry bag or box that comes to them. And every week we make sure that they get the items that they're looking for. So no one's left out when we're in a community. We even take care of those that aren't able to get out of their homes.
Right.
We also have a wonderful doctor's office that's represented by Larissa, and that doctor's office, she will go and also go to the door and see
Oh, nice.
on their needs, and also is there to help them all make any decisions they need to make. All our volunteers are so well schooled on all the things about Medicare and Medicaid, and can answer so many questions. And that's what's important, to give seniors information that they're not even aware of, the information that they don't know they have the opportunity to receive.
Right.
Yeah. And again, it's not just our seniors, it's also our families that aren't able, they're so busy working that there are other things that are happening that they are not aware of because they're always on the go.
Right.
And if one goes out to work, the other one's home taking care of the kids. And when the other one's not there, the other one's out working, the other one's doing the same thing. So their lives are so busy that it consumes them.
Right.
And so if we can just give them a little idea of what's out there, so they know it's it's a plus. It's a plus for them, and that's what we're looking for. So we don't look at your age, we don't look at your bank account, we don't care what you drive. If you need help, we would love to be able to help your community.
So you have a new grand opening coming
Yes.
this month, if
Yep.
I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
Yeah.
actually the 18th
Okay.
18th
So
of
just
April.
in a couple weeks.
Yep,
Mhm.
and it's number 7.
Mhm.
And we will have a grand opening. I think it's from 1 to 3, or is it 10 to 2, 10 to 12?
I'm not sure. I
Well,
have
we
to
can
look
get
at the
the
calendar.
Yeah, I can
and
get
put
the
it in the-
information and put it in.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, and it's great because it's actual. We do a regular, the whole ribbon cutting thing with these giant scissors, and we
Yeah.
hand them to Grace, and we tape Grace's hands on them because she can't. No, I'm just
Making
kidding.
sure.
Yeah, and we make sure the sharp edge is to the front so that she doesn't. But yeah, no, we have an actual ribbon cutting, and once the ribbon cutting, we make a few announcements. We talk about our sponsors, and we go ahead and cut the ribbon. The doors open, and everybody comes in. All the volunteers are all set to go, and it's a very exciting and happy
A very
experience
joyful time.
Yeah.
for the
I was able to
volunteers.
experience one
Yeah.
of the last ones. So,
Yeah, it's good for the volunteers,
Yeah.
and it's good for the people that are coming in, because again, it's like opening up another market. It's
Yeah.
not a food pantry. They're not looking at it that way.
No, not at all.
People tell me, like, "Oh, you look good for your age," but I think what it is, it's the
Botox.
It-
No, I'm just
Well,
kidding.
that too.
Yeah.
but it's the joy that it just radiates because you're so happy to be able to do this for others. I mean,
Really?
it's such a great feeling, and hey, listen, I'm a senior. I'm in the same boat. I mean, I know what it's all about. And it's a good feeling to be able to be there with them and to be able to help them as much as God helps me.
And let me tell you, it's not easy to work for your mother.
You do a good job.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very blessed to have a friend, a son,
Mhm.
and a partner all in one.
Yeah, so am I. I'm blessed that way too.
Good team.
It's really been a wonderful ride, knowing that we're doing what we want to do in our hearts. As Mom said before, my grandmother was always a giving person, and not wealthy at all in any means, but she would always make extra food and make sure that, because she would have a few of the homeless people from the neighborhood would call up to her from this back. Well, it's the apartments back in the city of New York. There's stoops, there are steps, and they would sit at the steps and yell out to my grandmother, "I'm here, come down and bring me some
Can
food."
I tell the story? Well, there was one particular one who, for years, I mean years, would come to my mom for breakfast every morning. And we lived in a big tenement house, and on the 5th floor going to the roof, there was a couple of steps in the landing and a couple of more steps in another land. And she would set his breakfast up there. She would give him coffee. She would give him eggs, bacon, toast, and juice. And he would come every single morning, and she had his whole setup, and she would say to us, "Now that's cherry nose. That's for cherry nose. You don't drink out of there. You don't eat off of them," because of course he was from the street, so she wanted to make sure that his stuff was separate. But he had his whole everything for him, and she said when he died, finally, you would think my mother lost her best friend.
And she and she wanted to make sure that he had his normal utensils, make him feel like he's having at home, and those utensils and things were always kept to the side, and every morning she'd pull them out and just feed his food
And
there.
he would knock on the door, and she would have it all ready for him.
So that's where we get it. It was passed down to my mother, from my mom. It passed down to me, and that's why I think we make a good team now, because my grandmother was a good basis for a good foundation for teaching us all of this all of these things, because I saw it with my own eyes too. And before I lost my grandmother, and she was, as much as she didn't have, that's how much she gave, and it was just amazing. It was amazing, and you'd be like, "But Grandma, where did you get it from?" It just came. It just come. It's provided. People give me things, and it's amazing. It's amazing, because whatever she got you, she gave it
shared
forward.
everything.
Yeah, she gave it forward. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, what you guys are doing is absolutely amazing, and I'm very blessed to have met the two of you, and I'm grateful that you're here telling us the story, and I'll see how we can all possibly help, because it doesn't look like you're done anytime soon.
No,
Number seven coming.
Yeah, we're number seven, but and the other thing is too, a lot of this is coming out of our own pockets, and we're really just looking for more sponsors to help us out, because the need is there.
Yeah.
Like I said, you wouldn't even know it's your own neighbor, and regardless of what you see outside their houses, what they drive, what the house looks like, is irrelevant, because you don't know what they're going through at the moment. It could be.
And it's more than just canned goods and,
Right.
and things like that, things that you actually go and need to purchase.
Right.
Some of the things that I saw was like fresh meats, and of course fresh fruits and vegetables that
Right.
are all
Right.
set up, drinks and all different kinds
We
of
try
stuff.
to get
We'll
as
try
much
to-
as we can.
Goods.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if we get rice, but we don't get things to go with it, like vegetables or beans or something, then we'll have to go out and buy that.
Sure.
So that's
For people with specific diets.
Specific diets, children.
right?
Yeah.
Children, they love their cereals in the morning, and milk, and certain things like that.
Yeah.
And we don't always get that donated.
And
You know.
eggs, things like eggs. It sounds so simple, but you have to buy that, because it's not. Those are things that aren't donated, and we go out and we buy it, because a family is a family. Everybody likes to get up on a Saturday morning and have some eggs and some toast. So do the kids. They like their omelets, and they like things
the-
like that.
And the kids should have some stability in their life, and the parents try very hard, but the economics nowadays are so
At one
hard.
point in time, it was $9. I mean, it's not that now, but not that long ago,
Mhm.
$9 for eggs.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's
But if you think
Wow.
about it, you can walk out of a grocery store with 3 bags to spend $120, $140, and not have a stitch of meat in there.
yes.
So
imagine
how do you-
family.
how
Yeah.
where is your protein? Where is your healthy diet?
Right.
That's what we try to provide with our food pantry. That's why it's we set it up like a farmer's market, so there's balance. There's the dry goods, there's the cans, there's the frozen meats, there's all kinds of pastries and bread, and it's just a good balance for them to have that a lot of times they haven't had in a long time.
hmm
So.
And it's simple stuff. It's not like we're going out and trying to, it's just the basics of life, just
Butter,
know.
it's so many
Yeah.
simple things that we take for granted when we can have it, and those that can't have it, it's a staple that's missing.
Right.
And every staple that you take away, it kind of takes away from the family unity in a sense. And people would say, well, what does food have to do with that? Food has to do a lot, because the more they have to work, the more they're away from their home, the more they're away from their children, the more they have to struggle to put food on a table.
Well, it's
The kids
stressful
see
for
that.
Very
those
stressful.
families to be
Right.
able
Mhm.
to go to work and to try to provide, and
Right. And when you
I don't
can't
wanna say
provide,
failure when you
Right.
when you can't provide, that does something inside to you. You're not
Right.
happy with yourself, like,
right.
Yeah,
And they struggle. They try. They
Yeah.
do try. But
I give them
As-
credit.
like somebody had said to me that seniors on Social Security, they just got this year a 3.3 increase in their income. I said, okay, and rents have gone up 4.9. So where is the balance there? They're still working at a negative,
trying to make ends meet.
trying to just survive to put something on the table,
Yeah.
even if it's a bowl of cereal. And you know what? How is that really nutritious?
How about that senior that you met her at the parking lot of the
Yeah,
shopping center?
74 years old. She was in a parking lot of a supermarket, one of our local supermarket chains. And she came out of her car with 2 cute little dogs. And I always ask, I love dogs, but I always ask first if I can pet them. So I said to her, is it okay if I pet your dogs? She said, oh yeah, they love it. Go ahead. And I was playing with them, and we got into a conversation, her and I. And somehow it came up that she lost her home. And I said, wow, what had happened? She says, well, I was living in an apartment, and they raised my rent $400, and it's $300 over what I make a month. They gave me 30 days to find another apartment, and I haven't been able to find it. So she was living in a Toyota Camry with whatever she can fit in the trunk and in the back seat. The dogs had a little spot in the back that they were sleeping in, and she was sleeping in the front seat of the car, reclined it back, and would sleep in there. Now, she was allowed to stay on a Publix parking lot till 10 o'clock. Then she went over to another supermarket, and she stayed there overnight, and then would go back to the other supermarket. So she was moving around until she could find a place. I try to help her as much as we can, but it was just so difficult
It's
to
so sad.
see that
Very sad.
that could be not just our moms or our grandma. It could be one of us at any moment.
Yeah.
Life can change. I don't care how wealthy you are, what kind of a position you hold, or what kind of business you own.
Mhm.
I've seen many people, even with the homeless, dealing with the homeless, because I work with the homeless from Alternate 19 into Port Richey by Walmart and Wawa's, and I fed many of them. And I've seen people that were architects. I've seen people that things have changed in their lives and caused them to have issues and problems, and they're out there with everybody else living in the woods, just trying to survive
It's
day
really
to day.
very sad.
So it doesn't matter what kind of education you have. It doesn't matter where you're at right now, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And I always keep that in the back of my mind, because I've seen it with my own eyes.
You brought up pets in that last story, and there's sometimes that they take care of their pets before they go and they take care of themselves. So they'll go and buy their dog or cat or whatever food before they go and are able to buy themselves something, just to make sure that they're okay.
Well, I've had two people that I've spoken to that had cats, and what they would do is, before the cat didn't eat, they would buy extra cat food and eat the cat food with them. And as much as that sounds horrible, when you're hungry, anything is going to work. And if they'll feed like you said, they'll feed their animals first, and they'll just share the food with them.
Yep.
And there's
It's
no
their
reason
children.
for that. It's sad. That's their family member.
Yeah.
So they're going to make sure that family member has food.
Yeah.
And if it's the only thing they can buy, they will share it with them.
So what can, I know that you need sponsors, absolutely. I know that we've talked about trying to get the word out in those specific individual communities, so the people that do live there know that you're there, because some of them don't know, especially in the larger communities, unless they're like talking to a neighbor or get like a notice or something like that. They don't even know that something like that is there. You go once a week to all of these places, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was one of the questions that I had heard when I was at the last location, that they're like, how often can we come? And just that question alone kind of gives you an idea of where people are.
Right.
And when the response was once a week, and the look on their face, they were like, oh, it was almost a relief that they have that opportunity every week, just like we go to the grocery store every week,
Exactly.
when we need to.
When you need
So,
to, right? So and I do. We not only do we supply, we pick up all the donations. We deliver all the donations. We make sure that according to the size of the community, we try to make sure
And I
there's
think you're
enough.
using your own vehicle, if I'm not
Using
mistaken.
my own
Yes, we
personal
are.
vehicle,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you travel quite a distance.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was just an fender bender, so my vehicle's out for repair, and I'm using a loaner right now until my vehicle gets done. So that's just par for the course. I mean, that's just what happens. You're on the road every day. My vehicle is my office, and I'm there from very early in the morning that I start until, as Mom was saying before,
Like
9 o'clock at night, and then I finally, head home. But we're making pickups, and we're making donation deliveries, and we're going to different locations, and we're working with them, and we're trying to adjust to make it simpler, to make the flow better for the people, and it's always an ongoing thing. Yeah.
And eventually we plan to even have more sites that we can be able to feed. But of course, it's getting volunteers, it's training, it's everything
finances,
else.
Finances is a big thing, because it's fuel, it's repairs on the vehicle, the vehicle has to be maintained. it shouldn't be my personal vehicle. It should be a vehicle that belongs to the pantry that's going to be able to hold all this.
Right.
So instead of making 3 trips to one location and picking up donations and then making 3 trips to drop it off, I can go with a bigger vehicle and go to one location, pick up all the donations, and then make my deliveries little by little.
Right.
So
So
actually, our goal and our dream, if somebody would donate a van to us, would be like, oh my God, we would be so excited.
To be able to get it all in
Yeah.
one trip.
Yes,
One
without the
trip.
multiple trips,
because
so.
being honest with you, it gets pretty, it gets hectic.
Oh,
Well,
Well,
Lord.
because I'm picking up actually donations out of 5 working days. I'm picking up donations 4 working days, and at that same time, I'm also making deliveries because I don't hold any of the food. All the locations are set up with refrigerators, freezers, and stockable
Right, so you
pantries.
pick it up and you have to go and basically
And
disperse it.
Disperse it
Definitely.
out, right?
Uh-huh.
This way, it stays fresh, it stays frozen, it stays,
Right.
and we know that people are getting a good product.
Right. Because I don't have the room in my pantry to store for other pantries.
We were talking about your home and some of the things that
Oh.
that
We-
were stored.
I
at
wasn't
your
gonna
house.
mention that,
but
That's a
that
sore part
we're
for
suffering
mom.
by
Yeah,
because we don't
yeah.
have the storage.
Yes, I would love a storage area where we could store these things. But again, if we had a van,
Right.
we could store in the van too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
And-
right now, our storage unit is mom's apartment, so we have to
Oh, we're
make
not even talking about a
sure.
house. We're talking about an
We're talking about an apartment, right? It's not even a
God
house.
bless you, because
Yeah, so-
oh my God, get this stuff out.
So when
You got it.
when I bring something in, mom is like, just make sure I can make it to the bathroom in the
Right.
evening. I don't want to walk into anything, So yeah.
But
Now that she's embarrassed because I said that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
But actually, my dream anyway, I know it's probably Ed's too, would be to if someone would donate a van, because it's like it's not a luxury, it's a necessity.
Yeah.
And it would serve as a storage place, but also it would serve for us to deliver and be able to hit, like he said, not
And
go
the
back and
time.
forth.
Right, I was just
to
gonna
the
say,
different
just the time
places
that
to
you
get
would be
this-
able to save
right.
alone.
Because right now we make several trips just to be able to service everybody.
Right.
Because think of the size of the places we've told
Are
you.
you two the only one that are going and picking up?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Yes,
you're
we want to
basically
make sure
within-
that the product is good enough. So it's because it's our name, my mom's name on the business, and we are dealing with seniors and families that are unable to do for themselves too much. We want to make sure that the product that we're getting is up to par.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, if we won't buy it, we won't take it. We'll leave it right there, and we'll go on to somewhere else to get donations.
And we've been
So,
very
yeah,
fortunate.
we do all the picking up and the dropping off to make sure that the locations, we take an inventory. We make sure the locations have what they need, but they also inventory what comes in, and they keep their sheets. So it's part of training them on how to run a pantry
Mhm.
and how to run it properly. And because we don't know, maybe one day somebody want to branch off and do their own. That's okay. We don't care about that. We care about feeding people. So if you want to branch off and open up your own food pantry, more power to you. I'll be happy to train you. I'll be
Right.
happy to show you how to do it. We just want people to eat, and eat what we all like to enjoy.
Right.
Thanksgiving, this
Wonderful
past
stuff.
Thanksgiving, I received a donation of 30 turkeys, and I gave those out in less than 3 hours. They were gone to families that needed it, and literally crying when they got it because they didn't know what they were going to do. I had some seniors that would bought a pound of sliced turkey so they could put gravy on it, and that would be their Thanksgiving meal.
Mhm.
And again, we want to make it so that they feel good about sitting at their dinner table, and happy. That family unit is so important today, and we don't want it. Shouldn't be that surviving just to have a meal on the table dictates what your family unit is going to turn out to be.
Right.
It's just not fair. and whatever we can do, whatever, as long as we can get some help, that's the key. We're really looking for some help. We're striving here to try to build more of these pantries within the communities, and reaching out to as many as we can. And the more help we can get, the more we can do that. Right now, Mom and I are doing our best to do it on our own. We
I'm also the bookkeeper.
That's true.
I'm also, because everything we receive, we have to make account for everything we receive, that it's really going to someone.
Yeah.
So that it's balancing that besides everything else. So
Yeah.
All of your in-kind donations. And
yeah,
So
there's a
for
lot
13
of paperwork.
for 13 years, neither one of us has received an income from this,
Yeah.
not once. So
And that's not what we're looking for.
Right.
But the help we're looking for is to be able to do more, because like we said, like with the van, it would give us time to be able to do more. But right now, we're like the poor car. That's all I can say. Half of the time, the back is like dragging along, So, and we're very fortunate that we have an SUV. I mean, if we had a car, we wouldn't be able to do it. But at the same time, it'd be so much more. It'd be easier for us if we could have, especially for me, a storage area. And so a van is perfect.
Right.
Because it would still have room to do the deliveries and everything else. And if we needed something, it's right there.
And I tell you, it's not all negative. We are blessed because we do have the individuals who are out there donating to us, in a sense that are the big companies that are donating food to us and things like that. So it is a good thing that we're getting these items. I know in today's society, the way the economy is, even the big stores are trying to cut back on waste, as they call it, and kind of shop for what they need to make sure that they're not spending excess money. So for us to get the donations that we're getting, we are blessed, and that's why we know we're being steered by God as a tool. And also the fact that we have wonderful sponsors and people like yourself who are willing to help us out the best, that everyone can, that we communicate with. And that just fills our heart with wanting to do even more, because we have people like yourself who want to sponsor us in any way and help us in any way. And it really fills our hearts. People can't understand what it feels like unless you actually fed somebody.
Yeah. Right now, I'm just trying to get the word out,
Right.
because people don't realize and don't know. And you called me the thinker. I am the thinker.
Yeah.
I try to come up with some ideas of different things that could work. And one of the things that we were talking about, you're true 501c3.
501c3.
So
we have our EIN number, and
my thought was that some of our students are always looking for volunteer hours, and they'd be able to volunteer, and they can get hours for Bright Futures for making those types of deliveries, whether it's deliveries of the food to the communities that are in need, or flyering the neighborhoods, things like that. They have a document that you guys would have the authority to sign that they volunteered, and then they get credit to be able to go and get scholarships for schools later on.
yeah, that'd be fantastic. We'd love to utilize whoever we can. Yeah.
Just trying to get as much help as you can get, because there's so many different avenues and so many different ways to be able to help and to be involved.
Right.
And if there is anybody listening, how do they reach you
they can reach us by we have a website, Grace's Food Pantry Florida Division. We also have a Facebook page. It's also Grace's Food Pantry. So they can reach us through there, and on their website will be our email and contact information that would they'd be able to reach anyone. It'll end up reaching me most likely most of the time. And we do have an administrative email there that another person is dealing with and works with, and they will contact me and let me know. And I will definitely get back to whoever wants to find out. And plus, we have a phone number, which is on the email.
All right. And I think all the information is scrolling across the bottom for right now, and we're going to put the information in the comments themselves. And is there anything that you'd like to tell us before we wrap up, or?
No, we just, again, we just are here to help whoever we can. And again, we are not taking credit for anything. It's all about God, and that's who deserves all credit. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be in a position that we are in now to be able to help so many people. And we just want to keep on going. So any kind of help would be spectacular to help us to reach our goal. And that goal right now is just endless.
Right.
We are not putting an end to anything. We're not saying these many pantries or
Right.
this type of food, or it's a goal that's open-ended and it's never going to close.
Right.
And that's the way we feel, and that's what we want.
As long as we stay healthy
Yeah.
and strong.
Oh, you're doing a good job at that.
Yeah, the Botox is working for
Right,
sure.
yeah. the cans of 900 pounds.
Yeah.
That helps too.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, like I don't go to my friends go to the gym, but I don't have to.
Nope, you don't have to.
I get my exercise just through the pantry.
Running around. Well, very blessed to have met the both of you. Thank you very,
Thank
very
you.
much
Thank
for
you.
coming, and we'll see what we can do and keep at it. You're
Yeah.
doing fantastic.
Hopefully we can do this again and we can share
Yeah.
some more good stories.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
I would
Yeah,
love to have you
yeah.
back.
Fantastic.
And hopefully a lot of people will see it and call
We're-
us and
we're
say,
gonna
hey, I need
share
a
it
pantry.
all around and see,
Yeah.
who we can reach. So,
Yeah, this is fantastic. And again, thank you for your time
of course.
and for caring so much about our cause
Yeah.
and being a part of it, because it makes a huge difference.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.